What's up, everybody? Peter X is Coffer. Welcome to another episode. This is a new kind of episode I'm doing. It's called, I'm going to call it Five Things, or maybe six or seven, depending on the artist, looking at new artists. And, I tend to focus a lot on older artists, but there's still a lot of good music being done. And, contrary to what my fellow Gen Xers and um, uh, uh, baby boomers say. So today I'm doing the five things I like about Dua Lipa. So she's Albanian, her family is Muslim. She was born in London, um, but she lived in Kosovo from age 11 to 15. So, her dad was lead singer and the lead guitarist for a metal band in Kosovo, back in the day. I mean, again, she lived in Kosovo from age 11 to 15. So, I've been trying to figure out how to kind of get some of these newer artists in because Dua Lipa only has like two albums and some of these other artists don't have a lot of albums. So it's kind of hard to do branding for some of them at least. Um, but to acknowledge there's some really good music going on. Dua Lipa is listed as a co-writer in all of her music. So yeah, five things. So let's dive in. Dua Lipa, her music is sort of wow. The I love her music because she's reviving disco. She's the best. There's a lot of disco revival acts out there. Many, the Swedes in particular are writing a lot of it. And Dua Lipa, she does write with Max. What's his last name? He's huge. But I can't think of Max's last name, but he's one of the premier songwriters, and he's I think he's out of Switzerland or what, or Sweden, and one of the big time writers out there. But yeah, but I think of the disco revival, she is the best. She does put some R&B and even a little hip hop in there. Dua Lipa was a former model, and so she has a good sense of style about her as well. And so I just kind of stumbled upon this method. So basically, I just went on YouTube, as far as building the content for this episode and future episodes on five things I like. But basically, just watching some of the interviews of Dua Lipa and some of the forthcoming artists and just, piecing together some stuff. And obviously, some internet work as well. But yeah, so hip hop is a big influence on her because hip hop is very big in Kosovo. It's interesting, you know. It's been a minute, but I went in and did some of the international uh, playlist. The top 50 of the week. Maybe about a year or two ago on Spotify, and it's pretty consistent now that you know the big songs are appearing across the globe, and the two biggest genres out there now are hip hop, rap, and reggaeton. And it's interesting. It's very interesting hearing like Swedish, or German rappers, but they're out there and they're doing their thing. My favorite Dua Lipa interview was actually, it's called Vogue 73 Questions, and she was on tour and she just walked around with the interviewer and he asked her 73 questions, and she interacted with a lot of the dancers, the musicians, the stage people, and you could tell right offhand that she was very down to earth and appreciated the efforts that these people were giving to her and her developing brand, and so I just found her to be very down to earth, and that was my favorite of all of her interviews. Dua Lipa is also a feminist and and I like her confidence. I like the fact that she, takes her craft seriously and is trying to her best to her ability control her music and her developing brand. I'm not sure what her brand is, but I'm gonna in a few minutes on the dub her the queen of new disco. I mean, Donna Summer was the original queen, but she does it so well that that's my brand for her. So, what are my five favorite things about Dua Lipa? Well, first is Levitating. Love the song. It was a smash. I believe it's over 1 billion streams. But I mean, that's her biggest song, or what, was. I think number two of the five things, Dance Tonight. I think that's if it hasn't passed Levitating is close. And there, if I remember correctly, on Spotify, both of these songs are at 1 billion streams. Now, the numbers don't lie. So, the end of 2023, Spotify did my top five songs. Number one was Post Malone. Why is the name slipping my mind? The biggest one off his latest album. But Dance Tonight was number two. So that was the most streamed song that I had on Spotify, for 2023. So numbers don't lie, and I think I'm at the 85th percentile when it comes to streaming hours, on Spotify according to Spotify. So hey, nothing to there's something there. I like the song obviously, so hey, it has to make my top five. All right, heat check, checking the numbers. So the Post Malone song I was thinking of was Chemicals. That was my most streamed song. That's at 488 million streams. Well, Levitating is almost at 2.2 billion streams. It's about 1.98 billion. And Dance Tonight is at 688 million. So Dance Tonight has a ways to go. Love Levitating. I wore that out. That was probably high in my 2022 list. I don't quite remember where that is right now. I did a screenshot of it, but it was probably in my top 10 that year. But it may not have done the top five, and I think that's all that Spotify does. So yeah, those things one and two when it comes to Dua Lipa. Thing three, I really like her style, colorful. And kind of she's in control. I mean, her stage outfits are pretty cool. I guess I should have done this before the show, but I did watch bits and pieces of certain shows, but I really need to sit through one show. I guess it's done in acts, and she does costume changes through all their acts. But Dua Lipa has definitely her own sense of style. And she, the sequin, she, uses these, she likes these sequined body fitting suits that suit her. So that's number three. Number four, the Queen of New Disco. That's probably the biggest thing I love about her is, there's you got the Swedish Mafia, you got the Purple Disco folks, you got Tiesto, you got different folks out there, and Max Martin was who I was trying to think of earlier. So you got a lot of folks out there doing disco, but right now Dua Lipa just does it better than anybody else. Don't ask me why, but she's good at it. She's really good at it. So yeah, the Queen of Disco, New Disco, and leading the charge, leading the comeback. The thing I like about her stuff and Levitating and Dance Tonight is just bringing that happiness, that sense of joy that disco had. I mean, I my episode on the history of disco, I describe disco as uh, secular, gospel music in some ways because it's just so uplifting and positive, and that she brings that vibe back, and I think she's committed. Through these interviews, she seems committed and loves the fact that she is bringing that positive vibe back. Finally, I like her voice. She has that kind of husky, smoky voice. I know I was watching one of the interviews and they're like, and she was answering questions from fans, and one of the fans were like, "Are you gonna start singing in your higher register?" She's like, "Well, yeah, my vocal coach, I'm working at it." I'm like, "Hey, do your thing. Everybody, you know, I don't know why, hey, you got to sing in those higher registers to be certified a great singer." She's very well at what she does. I mean, Sade, I believe, just got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and you got a lot of folks. I mean, Teddy Pendergrass, Isaac Hayes, Barry White, Gene Simmons. You don't have to do the high register stuff to be a good singer. Now, she probably will when she gets comfortable, but I like what she's doing right now. So, anyway, keeping this short and brief, I got some more coming through, probably Lady Gaga working on um, something as far as Doja Cat, because I've dropped Doja in a couple episodes, and I'm a big Doja fan. The question is this going to be, the branding video show or another five things? Because I'm kind of seeing a formation of a brand when it comes to Doja Cat. So we'll have to see. But in the next couple of weeks, that'll be dropping. So good news here on YouTube. My fifth album is finally migrated to my other four albums, so it is now connected to the channel here. I think that's part of the reason is I am doing another single, and that must have jarred the algorithm here for YouTube. So everything is here. The 317 Volume 2 is now connected with everything else. So check that out. Check out all my stuff. And I got it. I got another single. I only did two singles so far, and both off of my first album. I'm doing some standalone singles, as I work on my next album. So I think I'm gonna do a mixture going forward of singles and albums, and doing a little bit like uh, who's my man there? Drake. Drake is, does a mix, and the Beatles did that a little, but Drake is what, to a large extent mixing up the albums with the singles. And part of it too is because, I'm kind of liking some of this digital art I'm doing. So, hey, drop some singles and, let them do what they're going to do. So, Monday, February 12th, 2024, um, dropping a single called, you know, uh, this is what happens when you can't do notes and for everything. Babylon Nights is the new single. It is a house-ish, disco-ish, uh, thing going on. I really, really like it. I'm excited about it. It's a little different. I've never done a song like this before. So yeah, look for that and check it out. So thanks for coming through. Got five albums. They're all here now. They're all on the streaming services. My fifth album was here, just wasn't connected to the channel. And I also have two science fiction fantasy novels and a novella on Amazon. So thank you again, and I will see you next episode.